You talk about the Cabrillo files for the on the contesting thing and so forth. Now, are those files sent to you? Since you're gonna,
Good
I
question.
didn't quite understand the
Yes,
correlation.
yeah. And see, that's the problem with calling me. Why they call that person the scorekeeper? It's just a list manager. No, when you submit the contest, the Cabrillo file, and it goes directly to however they want you to submit it. ARL has a submission part. The other contests have different ways to submit, but it goes to the contest manager. It goes to the contest owner.
Well, I think just for spite, we should send you a copy of it or something.
I have a trash can. Yeah, I don't know why they call it a scorekeeper. That makes me sound important. It's just a list manager is all that is.
Thank you, Terry. Okay, Steve, you have something for us about results?
Yes, today's exams went really well. We have 2 new generals, 1 new tech, and a person who's going to come back and try tech again in the near future. Would you like to introduce? Oh, they're in the other room. Okay, never mind. His daughter is a new tech, and then our 2 new generals. One of them had to go back to Lexington because he just got off work at 4 a.m. He's a new general, and then Joey Brooks. Anyway, Joey's he got his general too. Both his tech and his general on the same day, but they're not here for us to congratulate them. So.
Thank you very much, and congratulations, guys. We're glad to have you as one of our people, so to speak. Okay, Dave, tell us about the repeaters.
Let me do it up there.
You want to take this, Steve?
Yeah. Oh, well. Several months back, I gave a little mini presentation on All-Star and how we could use it for repeater linking. Well, we've gone further and found a particular device that will interface the Yaesu DR2X repeaters that are currently on Integris and the 2.1 machine at Newcastle. It's a company called Masters Communications, and these devices are about a 117 for a built, tested, and metal cased device that we would need at each location. Dwayne and I bought a bunch of these little mini computers that work just perfect for this, and we'll donate those, and that'll take care of that part of it. The other part we need is a cable, and if I can find some proper shielded cable, I'll build the cables for that, and it'll be good to go. So what does All-Star do for us? Well, as it turns out, it's pretty handy for repeater linking, in addition to regular point-to-point contacts and nets and things like that. In this case, when we hook it up, we plan to make it a permanent link between each site, so you won't have to do anything to connect one site with the other. So in other words, if you key up the 2.1 repeater, it will also come out the Integris repeater. And you shouldn't know anything ever happened. In addition to that, if you're in the RF footprint, you should be able, I think, to create an outbound All-Star link connection to someplace in China or wherever, anywhere in the world, because it's internet linked. So if you're on vacation or whatever, you should be able to dial back in if you want to attend the net or talk to your buds. It should offer that opportunity. We've been messing with All-Star for what, a year now, close to, and it's a very capable system. Boy, it really sounds great. Good audio. It's not junky. There's some things we'll have to learn, and we can't learn those until we get these devices and start testing. But there will be some configuration issues and also critical alignment for levels and PL decoding and things of that nature. Yes, sir.
Well, I'm going to make a motion that we allocate the funds for the 2, you said 117 each, so let's say $250 for those 2 devices. And I would like to add to that we still have a little over $1,000 in the 21 repeater fund, and the 21 repeater is pretty much stable now at this point.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about that again in a minute, but I would like to suggest that we take that fund rather than out of the general fund, take it out of the funds that are still left in the 21 repeater fund for that $250.
Okay, we have a motion and we had a second, I think it was Mike. And now we've got discussion. I'll interrupt you just a minute. Steve?
second it.
Oh,
Too late.
Okay.
and was there any other discussion? Okay, call for the question. At that point, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried.
Are those a freestanding little computer unto themselves, or are they specialized?
This thing is, yeah, it's a specialized freestanding computer.
Thank you.
These originated in life as a thin client, so people in banks would have a keyboard and a monitor hooked up, and this would connect to a big upstream computer, and all the computing's done up there, and it's just display. So it's got a little Atom X5 processor in it, and they're very capable. A lot of people would normally use a Raspberry Pi for this. We chose not to do that because they have gotten ridiculously expensive. A Raspberry Pi 5 right now with the 8 gig is, I think, $300 roughly. Where they used to buy Raspberry Pis for like 35 or 30. Yes, sir.
I would just like to add, I've said this to many of you, but so everybody knows, I talked to the Yazoo people at Hamcation in Florida about linking these two Yazoo repeaters, and their recommendation is to use the All-Star Net that we're getting rid of. That came from their company Tech. So I think we're on the right track and to do it.
So a little bit more information about that. You will not have to go and register for an All-Star node number. You won't have to acquire any information. Additionally, what you have will work, assuming that your HT or mobile device has a keypad, but you won't even need that if you're just going to do a regular voice-to-voice communication. Yes, sir.
A few months back, we had a discussion about asking people that key up a repeater to say which repeater they were on, because the scanner guys might have all three, and so if they just said W5TGS listening, if you weren't watching, you have no idea which repeater they talked on. So you had mentioned you can key up 2.1 and it's going to come out on 8.2. If I'm on 8.2, do I key up 8.2 and it'll go back to 2.1? How does it know where to go?
That's what crossband repeaters do.
Whichever one Newcastle or Integris, when you key it up, it will send that across the net and will fall out the other end after it decodes the PL and will key the respective repeater there. So it's just a permanent link that you never see. Now, if you say listening, so you would have to maybe qualify that and say, oh, I'm listening to either 8.1 or 442, 475, because I don't know which one I'm coming out of.
Okay, so it doesn't go across the frequency, it just goes across the repeater.
It's an audio link.
Okay.
Goes through the internet
It's an
from
audio.
one repeater.
The other thing
to
is
the other.
that the link they're talking about, Terry,
It's
is
still the on
from Newcastle, which is A121, to the Integris site, which is 443.275. So it's VHF to UHF.
Yeah.
Not the A121 machine or the 2282 machine.
And the other good thing about putting an all-star node, if you decide, hey, I'd like to do all-star, let's say you're on vacation and Thursday night net, you could join the Thursday night net from Florida
With your All-Star Net.
with your all-star link.
No, yeah, from your computer.
So do you want to discuss that other matter we talked about with the 8.2 antenna, or do you want to let that go?
No, go right ahead.
Okay. So to fully understand where we are today compared to where we were historically, let's say prior to about 2000, I think 2020, somewhere in that neighborhood, we only had the 8.2 repeater. and it wasn't until somewhere on, do you remember when we activated that up at Integris? It's been about 5 years, 5 or 6 years. We only had 8.2, so that was the only game in town. The old, was it a GE repeater that we had up there in Integris originally 20 years ago?
Prog line, yeah.
Got through, was up in Integrity for a
Yeah,
while.
so that died and never got replaced. And of course, Newcastle, we didn't have the site and hadn't come online yet. So we got Integris up and running, which gave us 2 repeaters. And if you guys have listened and driven around town or checked it, that repeater up there in Integris, I dare say, has better coverage than anything in the metro. And it sounds really good. So right now that leaves us with 8.2 still running, but it has a very limited footprint and a small clientele compared to what the UHF repeater is. So
I do have one question. Is this gonna help me to access it through like repeater phone and that's like that?
I think repeater phone will do All-Star, but I'm not familiar with that per se.
Okay.
So that's something we'll have to investigate. But there are other alternatives, like DroidStar. So
Well, I've got an iPhone, so I was just curious as to whether it would work that way or not.
I think there is an iPhone client. But I don't-
I've got the iPhone app. Yes, there is, and it does work All-Star.
Okay, great. So anyway, here's where we're going with that. Now, it's been observed that it doesn't have the coverage, and sometimes it's staticky on the net, and it's less than ideal. But the point is that it's probably not going to get a whole lot better. If we were to dump a lot of money into it and invert the antenna and put it up on the top, right now it points downward. If we were to put it up at the top of the tower, it wouldn't be that much of a increase in elevation, but it would change the radiation pattern and improve it. And you might get a very small but discernible amount of improvement by going to a ham antenna as opposed to the commercial VHF antenna we have now. But those are things that are hard to quantify and truthfully are probably not worth the effort. So looking at it at 8.2 restoration, going forward, I would advocate that we just kind of let it try it out, use it while it's there, but move the primary net function over to UHF. And I know that's kind of heresy, but maybe it's time for 8.2 to run its course. We have more repeaters. We have tremendous coverage. It just doesn't make a good business case to keep pumping money into 8.2 and making it something that it's a little bit like putting lipstick on a pig.
If you're gonna link the two,
Not
2-1
8,
and that.
not 8.2.
I didn't mean 8.2, sir. I meant 2-1 and that one. The coverage is gonna be phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So because of where we are now, rich in computer or repeater coverage, I just advocate that we just kind of like not devote a lot of attention to it, use it and enjoy it, but let's not pump a lot of effort into it. Discussion?
Step further is, if you're just gonna let it atrophy and go away, would it be worth it to sell it?
It would be, but frankly, that's not going to yield a lot of money. The cans are probably worth more than the repeater is. It's a Bridgecom, BCR 40, I think.
Right, if you'll recall, it got hit by lightning. It had the Yaesu that is basically now the 21 was there, and it got hit by lightning, and so we had the Bridgecom. We moved the Bridgecom over there to the 8.2,
I
and
mean,
then
kinda like
replaced
if
the
it's a junk
21.
car, I suppose you could drive it or sell it for $50, so.
Well, yes, it has some monetary value. But why we have the Bridgecom down there and didn't replace it with the Yaesu is because often that's not manned. Gene doesn't keep that active. He might be going for a week at a time. So that repeater, though, allows me from home, or one of the repeater gonks here, to reset it. or shut it down if it has malicious interference. So we can remotely control it. The Yaesu repeater has a kind of limited functionality, but we'd have to put extra antennas in it and penetrate the walls up in Integris, and that's just not going to work. So that's why that is like that. So any
Now, when I first started checking into the net on 8.2, I didn't have a lot of troubles, but I was fuzzy sometimes. So I bought a 4-element Yagi and pointed it at the repeater. And it didn't work real well. I bought a different one, and it's pointed toward the repeater. I've replaced the coax, and I'm running high power, and I can't put any more into it. So if they continue to run the net on 8.2, I'm going to be marginal at best.
Yeah.
So I'd like for us to get off of 8.2 with the net.
Does everybody concur with that? Or?
Do we need a motion on that? I mean, I concur with that too, but Mr. President,
Well, the
think we need-
problem is, and I hate to make a motion because there may be people in the downtown area that can get into 8.2 that only have VHF. You hear where I'm going? If they can't get into 2.1 or the UHF, they're cut out. So that's the reason I didn't make a motion.
Yeah.
well, can I just ask a question? And is there a way to link a third repeater using? Could we link the 8.2 into these other two when we get the two working? But then is there a potential
Well, sure,
with
we could,
All-Star Net to?
But what does it gain? I dare say there's anybody that can link into 8.2, and that is in their RF pattern, that can't get into the Integris system.
I agree. I
So-
agree. And for me, the Integris is just a
Yeah.
boomer.
And-
But,
and with
but the point is,
$25
my
bill,
point
yeah.
is that the repeater is paid for. It has very little monetary value to sell it. It costs us nothing. We don't pay the electric bill.
Exactly.
I mean, it's from a financial standpoint, it is nothing.
It's free.
So-
Let me interject right here. Let me ask one quick question, and I got you, Lucian. How many people do not have UHF capability?
Just a walkie-talkie only.
You can hit 275 with it. You were forwarding the
If I
other.
go outdoors,
Well, sometimes it takes a trip.
Or it takes fixing the
You
radio.
got antennas, don't you?
An outdoor antenna that comes indoors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You don't have
I
UHF.
just have VHF. I don't
Just VHF. Okay. So the preponderance of folks, can you hit the 2.1 machine? Okay.
have,
No.
no.
Okay. I
My
didn't think
problem
you
is I
could.
have a vertical. I need to, and I have a Yagi against the wall, but I can't get it up, and I don't know exactly where it's,
Understand.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I can
Lucian,
hit
you had
the
something?
8.2 and the 2.75, but I can't hit the 2.1 at all.
Lucian, you had
So
something?
I just want to tell you from the experience of linking repeaters in the public safety environment, you do not want to link, in our case, a third one that is compromised or just doesn't have the clear full quieting capability and static during stormy weather and that kind of stuff.
And the,
Highly discourage that.
the UHF machine, the 275 machine, has much better coverage than 8.2. And it's kind of like they were saying, $25 you can get a UHF talkie that'll hit that machine. Steve?
Suggestion as part of the discussion. We have a PIO officer who had contacted me once before about whether or not I could key up on 275 or 2.1 and what my signal qualities were and things like that. How about before we decide to move the net off of 8.2, we have our PIO send it out to the whole club, hit it, and we'll try to have somebody listening to each one of those repeaters like 2 weeks from now for a week. so that everybody can find out if they can hit it and what their signal qualities are and stuff like that. Gather that information before we decide to move the net off of 8.2.
What's the
Good
time
idea.
frame for linking, really?
And one more thing, there will be times when we want to unlink this, and for instance, when the marathon
Yeah.
is
Okay,
being
yeah.
enacted, when that's running, we don't want any external interference, so we would take that down. But normally it would be permanently linked.
When does that
That can be
start?
done remotely, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, Tom, you have something?
Okay, in regards to what frequencies we use for the net, we're not married to 8.2, nor 2.1, nor 2.75. We rotate through them. So some of our net control stations can't hit 2.1, but they can hit 8.2 and 2.75, or vice versa. So we try to select the frequencies for the particular net for that week based on what the net control station can hit. One of the things I would like to offer on 8.2 is get with Gene. Is Gene still the owner up there?
Yeah.
Okay. See if there are any abandoned VHF antennas on top.
There are, but there are some, but they were, again, way up in the commercial range. They're like two notches away from the ham radio frequencies. So they're even less likely to have a decent match. And with that, when you get away from the design center frequency, that downward tilt thing that we want from antennas like that doesn't exist. It's just some RF went someplace, we don't know where. Hey, Mac.
For many years when I was working for Elmo up there, I had a digitator and BBS on 145.05. Everybody could hit it forever, and it was on a commercial antenna.
Mm-hmm.
The feed line was good. I think the biggest problem right now is possibly with the feed line we've got going to the antenna we've got. But I had no problem, people had no problems getting into my BBS from anywhere in the metro area on 145.05. And it was using a commercial VHF antenna that was up there. So,
Well, what I'm saying is that for the amount of money it would take to get a crew up there, change antennas, coax, buy new brackets, it's a diminishing returns thing. We spend a lot of money and get very little benefit, and it makes even less sense with their increased repeater coverage that we have with 3 other repeaters.
I agree.
So anyway,
The
that wasn't
antenna
looking,
is actually
soliciting
sitting at an angle up there. It's angled toward the tower, and I've got pictures on my phone if anybody wants to see it. It's got about a 15-degree tilt toward it hangs down and then it tilts toward the tower. And if you watch it in the wind, it's loose. It rattles around up there. But to pay a crew to go up there and even just straighten it up and tighten it is.
We have had to have that repaired before due to wind damage when the bracket actually broke. Now it sounds like it may be a little loose. But anyway, I don't want to take all day with this. Everybody good with what we talked about? Any other questions? Okay.
I guess. What do you think? What are you thinking now, just roughly, to get the two repeaters linked? To get, you got some stuff ordered, and you got to order these 2 boxes.
We've got to order these 2 boxes.
Okay.
And acquire some shielded cable that's acceptable for building the interface connectors.
So a month,
cables.
6 months. What do you think?
Probably a couple months at best.
Okay.
But this will take some time to tune and get the audio settings just right and figure out how exactly we're going to deploy this.
And do that right, because that's a killer in crossband repeaters.
Yeah.
That'll put us in a position, I think, probably to have the best coverage anywhere in the city area, anywhere in this area.
Yeah, which might actually
Which we should have.
solicit some new members.
Well, this club should have the best.
Okay, well, that's it. So we'll go ahead and acquire the parts. I'll start building some cables and get Dwayne to take care of the rest.
What kind of shielded cable do you need, dude?
I think 10 conductor with the
I don't think I have
aluminum
it.
foil.
I'll
on
look
the
and
outside.
see. appreciate that. As you can see, he's been putting some work in, and Sam as well down on the A121 machine and the .3. Yes, sir, Sam.
So as far as the tech committee, I want to talk about the 2-1 a little bit.
Yes, sir, you were next.
We got our cans back, actually over a month ago, and Don and Henry met me out there, what was that? Where did we go out there? Anyway, Thursday. And we took out the loaner cans that had been loaned to us, and thank you very much to Larry Goodwin from SCARS. He had loaned us those cans, and they are actually being taken back to him as we speak at the SCARS meeting down there by a friend of mine. Don retuned them to the frequencies that Larry wanted them on for his future use. But anyway, we put ours in, we tested them, they tested them really, really good. Don said they were about as perfect as you would ever get. So for not very much money, we got them right, we put them in. Thursday night on the net, they seemed to be, that repeater seemed to, when we did the agility test, seemed to be doing very, very well. And I also want to remind everybody that we've got it on 30 watts, which is medium power for that repeater. It's really couldn't tell much difference between 50 watts and 30 watts as far as people being able to
Except
hear.
lifespan of the equipment.
Well, that's the reason we did it, is to
Yeah.
increase the lifespan of the equipment. And, I talked to Yazoo about that, and the Yazoo guy denied that it would, he said, well, you run that thing on full power, key it up and leave it keyed forever and it wouldn't hurt it, but yeah, right. So anyway, so that's where the 21 repeater
And he
is.
used to be a used car salesman.
Well, he also had Yazoo on his thing, and his paychecks say Yazoo on it. So. Anyway, they're very helpful guys. I don't want to run them down. They're actually tech support wise, they're very easy to talk to. So
Thank you very much. And for those of you that, if you've tested that machine, the A121 machine, if you've played on it or listened to it or whatever, it's I know changing the cans on that thing should make zero difference in the way it sounds, but it just sounds better to me. I mean, it's like, it just sounds better. I don't know why, but it does. Thank you very much. Okay. Tom, do you want to give us a situation about the net report?
At the net this past Thursday, we had 14 check-ins. We're still looking for a 5th net controller station. We've got a script for you. You don't have to make it up as you go along. Just have to be available every 5th week to conduct the net. So if you're interested in becoming a net control station, talk to Terry, myself, Jim. Who's our 4th one? Dave, or Dick. He can't make the meetings. But we can get you set up as a net control station. As mentioned, we moved the frequencies around, the combinations we made conduct primarily on 275 one week, 21 the next week, 82 the next, go to the other repeaters for the frequency agility. Like I said, we're not married to 8.2. We can minimize that repeater's use for the nets if need be. Once they get this linking system in, that'll help immensely with net coverage. Out there.
This is not a technical question on the 8.2 linking or anything like that. This is strictly administrative question. We get 0 to 4 people a month that are not in the club who check in on, because we have traditionally have made the initial repeater announcement on 8.2. And we get 0 to 4 people a month who are not members of the club, they may be passing through, who knows, who check in and do the net, and sometimes they never come back, sometimes they do. But if we get rid of 8.2, how do we have to go into like the repeater book or ARL or something to let people know that that's no longer available? I mean, it's only 0 to 4 people a month, so I mean, it's not earth-shaking.
I don't think anybody's talking about getting rid of A2, are we?
No.
Well, we wouldn't make it we probably would not make the announcement. The net's gonna start in 30 minutes or, whatever. The initial announcement, we make it on 8.2 and then on the 2.1. And if we're not gonna make that announcement on eight.
Well,
We're not gonna-
that's something we can
Yeah,
work out.
strictly administrative. is
That's
all.
something we can work out later from the standpoint of that protocol.
Well, along those lines, and the other day I was not on the repeater we were gonna use for the net. I'm usually already dialed in on it, but Tom, I think it was you actually went to, it sounded like you went to each repeater and made an announcement that tonight's net's gonna be on this repeater. And I think that's a really nice thing to do. That way if somebody's tuned into the wrong repeater, read the wrong email or whatever,
Of course, with that linking, we only
That's what
have to
I
make it on either
Right.
275 or 21, and it goes out
Right.
on both.
right. Yeah, but we're not linked yet. I'm talking about right now, and I think that's a great idea, Tom. I don't know if
Yeah.
you thought of it or
You
what.
number
Dave?
one or number two?
But wait, there's more. With the All-Star controller, we'll be able to do like sky-warn announcements for severe weather, club meetings, net meetings, be able to put all those out as audio announcements.
And that would be all automatic too.
So that'll negate any requirement for you to go change things or whatever. Everybody will get it blasted out.
I think it's a real advantage of getting that thing done and doing it right. We appreciate the work you're putting into it, both Dave and Dwayne. We appreciate it. Carry on.
That's it.
That it? Well, you're up again. New business?